These Stones is a brand new series that's already getting rave reviews. 12 wins at film festivals, along with 19 nominations. And those include several awards for Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Series. This critically acclaimed series is a faith-based family drama, and it's the brainchild of producer and screenwriter Cheryl McKay.
Cheryl McKay is an executive producer and chief creative officer for Stone Impact Media. Since 1997, she's been writing stories to inspire others. Her screenplays for TV and film have attracted multiple awards, nominations, and top star talent. Her latest project, These Stones, is a family drama series now streaming exclusively on Up Faith and Family.
Cheryl McKay is here with us now, and we welcome you. It's good to have you on the 700 Club.
Thank you so much for having me, Terry.
Tell me about These Stones. What is the concept? How did this come to be?
Well, you know, there's that verse in Matthew about how Jesus dies on the cross, and then the tombs break open, and then the saints were raised from the dead.
Yes.
And they're walking around talking to people. Well, think of that concept. Like, can you imagine all of them walking around and still being alive? Well, the what if of our show is asking the question is, what if they never left? What if they're still here? And can we pair Bible characters with people going through problems that match what they went through in the past, that are still relatable to people today?
So how do you use the Matthew 28 concept for the basis of everything you're doing?
Well, we decided to have it that what if you could take a Bible character and have them show up today? They have to work undercover. So like kind of like Touched by an Angel, where in the beginning you don't really know they're an angel, and then you wait till that moment where they can have that reveal.
Yes.
But you know how you want to have the Bible, it's still relatable today, but not everybody is going to open the book.
Right.
And we're hoping that if people watch our show, they'll see that they're talking like they belong today until it's time to reveal where they came from. And then they can do Bible speak if they want to, or they can use an accent from that time. We also show you a little peek of what they looked like way back then. And that's when they get a chance to tell them, you know, this is what they went through in the past and how it relates. Because we don't have to make the Bible relevant today, it already is. But not everybody necessarily knows that or can understand that.
So when you're doing this, it's been out now for what, 3 weeks?
3 weeks,
less
yes.
than a month. What kind of
Yes.
reaction are you getting?
Well, it's really fun. Like, you know, there's one thing, you have your friends that are going to watch it and they're going to love it, and your mom, you know, your dad.
Your mom's always
They're
there.
always going to be big fans. But it's been really neat that we're on Up Faith and Family, the streaming service right now, and seeing some of the ads they're running and the comments under it, and people are just like, this is so fresh, this is so original, and this is what people need today.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the kind of show that can bring people hope when in a season of life where we all really need hope. And it helps people understand that they're not alone, and that we hit all these issues that people get today, like opioidism, or we have a teenager who is a cutter who has low self-esteem because of promiscuity, and she doesn't understand why she feels the way she does. Or we bring Sarah in to help a couple that's infertile, to try to help them through that navigating of what is God's answer in that. And that story was actually based on my husband and I, that we decided, God decided that he wanted me to share that story publicly for the first time. And we were able to do that through the show.
Was that episode 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet some deliberation had to go into whether you were going to do that or not.
A little bit, yes, because we wanted to make sure that we weren't going to have hope, or it wasn't going to feel hopeless. And I don't think it does, but I wrote the episode that I needed to see when I was going through all that myself. Because a lot of times in the Christian world, you have movies where everything turns out the way everyone wants at the end.
Yes.
And that was what we weren't trying to do, because I got to know, my husband and I got to know. But I also wanted to show how that can be a gift, and how, because if you live in a place of hope deferred makes the heart sick. Longing fulfilled is what fixes it. But if it's never going to be fulfilled, the only way to move on with your life is for God to finally give you that definitive answer of no.
Yeah. And to realize, as you're saying, that the no is actually leading you somewhere of his making, that would be a missing element in your life if you got to have a yes to everything that you prayed.
Right. And seeing the fruit of that already online, people commenting on that episode about how this is the show I needed, or this is the one I relate to, this is part of my life story. And even when we had given the scripts early on to Madeline Carroll, who plays the lead from I Can Only Imagine, she plays McKenna, and the woman who plays her mom, Charlene Amoya, both of them, when they read all 6 scripts, said, this is my favorite episode. This is the one that's going to help people.
Wow.
I mean, and I know they all will, but it's just in a different way.
Yeah, well, people aren't looking for pad answers. They're looking for real in the world today. You have this beautiful study guide.
Yes.
I mean, this is a book. This isn't just a. Tell me what this is and how you'd like to see this used.
Absolutely. Susan Rohr and I, she's the director of the show, and she and I co-wrote that this summer because we realized we had a hole here. We really wanted people to be able to dive deeper into the themes of the show, the kinds of things you can't get into when you're doing a fictionalized show. So both of us wrote all the episodes with discussion guides of every one, and we want people to go deeper. And additionally, we have activations in there where we want people going out in their communities doing acts of kindness, spreading words of encouragement that are all inspired by things in the show.
Speaking of being inspired, a lot of the inspiration for this for you, maybe without realizing where it was actually taking you here, started right here on this campus.
Yes.
Tell me how you came to Regent University.
I started out acting, I got rejected, and then I realized my theater degree was worthless. And I had already written a fan letter to Susan Rohr saying, how do I do what you do? I saw her work on television. And so she said, well, come to Regent when you're ready. And so I came here, got my film degree and learned screenwriting while I was here, and made her give me an internship at North Star, which she was making after-school specials at the time, which helped me as a teenager. Like, I was riveted to them, watching them at the time when they were on the air, and somehow found her address and wrote her a fan letter back then when I was only 15 years old. So that was like the beginnings of not realizing that we later would collaborate on this show together with my team at Stone Impact Media.
And here you are, both names on this book, as God brought you together.
Yes.
You know, talk about that for a minute, because I think, you know, you talked about the rejections that you received when you thought you wanted to be an actress, or that that was even what you were called to. God changes our script and our direction.
Absolutely.
And we need to be listening for that, don't we?
We do. I mean, I always call it my best rejection because I love being alone. I'm an introvert, and I love being alone and writing with my characters, and I'll act them out at the same time. I'll cry. If I'm not crying, you're not crying. You know, so I love that. And the other thing, one of the phrases I love from our show is the messy middle. And we gave that line to Karen Abercrombie, who's Miss Clara in the War Room. And it's like, when you want to live in that messy middle, sometimes that's where God is, letting us go through rejection and pain, but it's always to bring us to a place where it's going to be better. It's that Romans 8:28 theme is what I love to tell.
And never leaving us alone in the middle of the mess, but
absolutely
walking right through it with us. Lots of people have just come in for the fall here at Regent University. What advice would you give people who are considering?
I would say that if you want to work in this film industry, number one, Regent is a great place to learn, but also make sure that you know that there is power in your pen and that you are going to be able to impact people through this industry.
And you are, Cheryl McKay. You are through these stones, and want to encourage you to watch the series. It's streaming now on Up, Faith and Family, and while you watch, make sure to get the official study guide by Cheryl and Susan Rohr. It's available nationwide through Amazon. Thank you so much for what you've done and what you're doing.